Welcome back to 3 Minute Studio. China, the Middle Kingdom, once ruled by the glorious Ming Dynasty, would soon descend into an abyss of chaos and despair. Between the years 1616 and 1662, a staggering figure of more than 25 million people perished as the Mongols rose from the northern frontier, their eyes set on claiming the Dragon Throne. The Ming Dynasty, already weakened by deep-seated corruption, widespread famine, and the relentless scourge of plague, was collapsing from within. Peasant uprisings, born of desperation, spread like wildfire across the land. None were greater than Li Zicheng's rebellion, which ultimately stormed the capital, Beijing, in 1644. The last Ming Emperor, Chongzhen, faced with the utter ruin of his empire, realized all was lost. In a final, tragic act, he took his own life upon Coal Hill, bringing an end to nearly 300 years of Ming rule. But beyond the Great Wall, the Mongols were waiting, patiently watching. Led by the ambitious Narachi and his successors, they had consolidated their power, forming the later Qin, which they would soon rename the Qing Dynasty in a twist of fate. Ming loyalists, desperate to oust the rebel Li Zicheng, called upon the Mongols for aid. The Mongols seized their moment. The formidable gates of the Great Wall were opened, and with them, the very fate of China was irrevocably changed forever. The Qing forces didn't just help, they took control. They swiftly crushed the rebels and claimed Beijing as their new capital. But this conquest was far from a peaceful transition. It was a brutal slaughter. Cities that dared to resist were burned to ashes. The infamous Yangzhou massacre, the fierce resistance of the southern Ming loyalists, and endless civil strife turned the once great empire into a graveyard of dynasties. By 1662, the last hope of Ming resistance, a loyalist prince, was executed in what is now Burma, extinguishing the final embers of the old dynasty from the ashes. The Qing dynasty stood triumphant. They were powerful, highly organized, and utterly ruthless. They would go on to rule China for nearly 3 centuries, dramatically expanding its borders and shaping the empire we recognize today. But this victory was forged in fire and blood, coming at a terrible cost: tens of millions dead and a nation reborn from its own destruction. This was the Qing Conquest of the Ming Dynasty, a war that violently ended one world and gave birth to another. Thank you for watching 3 Minute Studio. If history fascinates you as much as it does us, don't forget to like, subscribe, and continue exploring the incredible stories that have shaped humanity with us.